What is happening, YouTube? Thank you for coming along here at Brian's Random Thoughts. Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind, but I'm going to blame this one on StreamYard because it's literally all their fault. So, welcome to the train wreck. I do want to say, um, I hate coming behind because I always feel like I'm forgetting to do something. I have no idea what that could possibly be because now I'm actually organized for the first time that I've ever done one of these videos. So today, what I want to talk to you about is a little bit of an idea that I stole from someone who's far more intelligent than I am. Do you read the brochure or the manual? Key question. What am I saying? So if you have any questions, you're having any comments or anything like that while I'm doing this live stream, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll be sure to address those as we go through. But here's the idea that I'm stealing. I'm totally freaking stealing this idea from. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over here and we're going to take a look at Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is a very famous scientist. I'm not sure what his actual field of expertise is. Astrophysicist, I would think, but don't quote me on that one. But this is something that he has to say that really kind of spawned this idea. So we're just going to let Neil talk here.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right, but not enough about the subject to know you're wrong.
So what I want to do here is, now he's introing a new series that he was doing. And what I want to do is I want to use this as a springboard here to this idea of when it comes to information, are we reading the brochure or are we reading the manual? Do we really know what we are freaking the F out about, or are we a tourist? Do we know enough about the information to get good and freaking pissed about it, but not enough to know that we sound like a freaking moron? Have we sat down and actually done something that most people don't seem to do anymore, which is weighed out both sides of an opinion? What? Yeah, you're still allowed to do that. You're still allowed to look at a point and go, point, counterpoint. Let's weigh these two out. How does this, oh, wait, what they're saying doesn't seem to add up, but this does seem to make sense now suddenly. And then, and all of a sudden we get this, and not for, and many people are coming to the point, especially in this time over the last few years, they're coming to the point where they're realizing that maybe you should ask more questions. Maybe you shouldn't just parrot what you hear. Maybe you should investigate. Now, see, I have an entire channel devoted to Bible study because of the idea that just because people say that's what the Bible says, that doesn't mean that's what the Bible says. So I've got a whole channel devoted to that because it doesn't say what most people say it says. And I think that's how it kind of works with information as well. And when I heard DeGrasse Tyson, Neil, like I know him, when I heard Neil make that statement as a preface to the new series that he was doing, I was like, oh my gosh. So how many times? Okay, so this is about, let's make this about me, because everybody knows that anyone who does these channels, they're complete narcissistic sociopaths, and they just do this stuff to hear themselves speak. There's no real social impact that they're trying to make whatsoever, because this is all super easy to do. Said no one who's ever done one of these. But one of the things that I had to challenge myself with was, am I an expert at what I am saying, or am I an expert at what I believe? And there's a difference. See, you can be an expert at what you believe and be sincerely wrong. You can believe something to be true and be very sincere about those beliefs, but you still be wrong. There's people that have very strongly held beliefs that their beliefs cannot handle any criticism whatsoever. Because the second that you criticize their belief system, they immediately switch it to something that it's not about. They switch what it's about. If it's about subject A, well, they switch it to something which is a much grander picture, which everyone would be against, and that's suddenly what is going on, not the fact that this is actually what we're discussing. And so you see that with people who can't defend their position. It goes back to the same idea that the person with the least amount of that knowledge is inversely proportional to the volume of your voice. The louder you're running your freaking mouth, the less likely it is that you know what the F you're talking about. And I know that from personal experience. So we are from a family that likes to argue. And when the volume starts escalating, that's usually the point when you realize that you're no longer dealing with any actual factual discussion, but just my point will be heard and I don't give a F about your point, which is perfectly normal. And I would consider that to be acceptable behavior because we can agree to disagree. But one of the things that I think that we have to kind of get past is this idea that we can have different sets of truth. And there's not different sets of truth. See, there's different ways of perceiving things like art and music and religion. There's different ways of perceiving those things, but there's not different ways of perceiving that 2 plus 2 equals 4. There's not a different way to perceive that. And there's some things that fall under the category of just a fact that require a factual reckoning. You cannot look at them and say, well, I choose not to accept that. Well, that's not going to work because that's not how reality is. You can choose not to accept the top 10 Billboard, but you cannot choose to accept the fact uh, that children raised in a certain manner turn out better because that is how they were created. You may not. There may be alternatives, but because they're alternatives, it doesn't make them better. Because you see, that's the thing is it's about knowing enough about information to form an opinion, but not enough to realize that you might actually be wrong. Because unfortunately, in what we have now, is we have that facts are always tainted by emotion and by feeling, and that's not how facts work. See, math doesn't work that way. I love math. I freaking love math. And of course, everyone who ever says that is people that really didn't have that much problem with it. I got it. I saw it. I saw math. And so that was something that wasn't a problem for me. There's a lot of things that are problems for me, like art. I can't do that. I can do music, but I can't do art because that's not my slant. But see, I don't look at art as somehow being evil or wrong or something that should not be partaken in because I can't do it. It's not stupid. As Eddie Murphy said, the moonwalk is stupid because I can't do it. That was from Eddie Murphy, either Raw or Delirious. Yeah, that's how things are in life. And what's happened now is we have gotten to the point to where if it's things that we don't understand, then they shouldn't be allowed. Well, you can't do that. What you need to do is see, you need to understand it. Put down the mother effing brochure and pick up the manual and actually understand something. I am 53 years old. I've spent my entire life learning new things. I love to learn new things. If I am interested in something, I am finding everything out about that I possibly can. Do you know what I have learned in all those years? Not that I know more than anybody else, but that there is more that I do not know. The more I know, the more I realize I don't know. And that is the status that we as human beings need to be in, is not in this unteachable, I have all the answers and these are the only solutions that are possible, because they're not getting us anywhere. I don't know if you've looked around you, but this is an effed up freaking world. This is not a world of love and compassion and reaching out to your neighbor and doing for those. even though you may not necessarily see eye to eye. That's not what it is. No, it's kill those who hate you. That's psychotic. It's literally, by definition, a narcissistic, psychotic response to people who don't agree with you is that they need to be done away with or they need to be silenced. Maybe you should spend 5 minutes talking to them. Maybe you should put yourself in their shoes for a minute. Maybe you should show them some mother freaking compassion. Maybe you should do that. Maybe the thing that you're trying to have them show to someone else, you should show to them, and they might listen to you. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. That'll never work. Yes, it will, because that is the one of the main philosophies that transcends every religious system in the entire world, is that you freaking reap what you sow. And how do we think that we are going to gain knowledge and come to any kind of consensus of agreement of anything if all we do is tell everybody else how the other side are stupid morons and freaking idiots and nobody should listen to them because we're not going to listen to them? Well, when you can't listen to a person that disagrees with you, you guarantee that what you're going to have is a continued battle. And so if you want to continue fighting with everybody in the entire world, then keep doing what you're doing, because nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. There's no coming to the middle. There's no middle ground anymore. There's none of that. It's my way or the highway. Well, I can tell you, as an old fart, how that turns out. It's not well. It's not well. So, all right, folks. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate everybody that stopped in. Again, watching live and on the rebroadcast. I really do appreciate you coming around. If you ever have any questions or comments, you guys know how you can leave them in the chat or leave them down below on the rebroadcast. And if this is content that you enjoy, please like, share, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Always helps the channel grow. Helps kind of get the message out there, as it were. Take some time out this week to change your world. You know, there's not a lot of things in this life that we can change, but you can change how the world is to those that are around you. When you interact with someone, give them something they need. It's probably just a smile. You could do that. Change your world little bits at a time. Make the difference. Be the difference. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. Nobody else going to do it. Can we face that reality? Nobody else is going to do it. It's on our shoulders. Change your world. It'll absolutely be worth it. All right. Love you guys. See you next week. Next week, I'm going to be talking about the cost of convenience. Ooh, and it'll actually have research involved. That's scary. That sounds like work for me. All right. All right. I love you guys that much. That's how much I love you guys. All right. See you next week. 7 o'clock then, Lord willing. Next Wednesday.